Namaste, angels, and thank you for joining, liking, sharing, and subscribing to my videos. I do appreciate you. I'm glad that you are back here with me. I am here again to do another combined weekly general and love reading together. I don't know what I was thinking last week. I mistakenly said I'd be back in New York and back to my traditional style. But that was incorrect. I don't know why I said that, because I knew that I would still be in the Carolinas, and that's where I am. So again, I will be combining the readings and cutting short anything that I choose to read from history to go over to teach you like I would normally do if I was doing a general reading alone. Actually, I may not read much at all, but there are some things that I want to mention and I want to go over, so I'm going to do that quickly, beginning with the rainforest in the Amazon. And you may say that's not historical. Like, why am I going to talk about that? So we'll get into it. But again, hopefully as clear and concise as possible. I may even have my daughter extrapolate this portion of the reading at a later date or later time, and just have a short video with my feelings on the fires in the rainforest, separate from the rest of it. So why is the Amazon on fire, and who might benefit from it? Well, there's a few things at play here. Back in July of 2019, the indigenous people of the Amazon finally won a lawsuit that had been going on since like 2012 against large corporate interests who are trying to steal their land, basically. Thought they could just come in, knock them out, take over the land like they're used to doing to indigenous people. But these people fought back. They did have some casualties. Also, back in July, a chief, a very high-ranking person among this tribe was murdered. And they're very clear that they know him to have been murdered by these large corporate interests. Mad that, they fought back. So they won this lawsuit against people who wanted to come in and, with a bunch of deforestation, cut down and knock down all the trees, clear the land, excavate it for their own purposes, including drilling for oil. And they were able to, by winning their lawsuit, they were legally able to preserve the land and their heritage and culture. Well, the big corporate interests didn't like that. You may recall last year in France, at the chapel, the church of Notre Dame, there was fires too, and a bunch of billionaires came running, as did civilians from all over the world, came running to their aid, sending money. Well, that hasn't happened with the Amazon. Where are the billionaires? They're not there because they set the fires. They are who want these fires. They are who wants to clear the land, to excavate and drill for oil. They are who wants the deforestation. They want cleared land on which to farm there, to build their industrialized farms. And when I say industrialized farms, I don't only mean those who, pump up animals with hormones and get them cut up and shipped out as quickly as possible to your local grocer. I also mean industrialized farms of fruits and vegetables, hybrids, GMOs, a bunch of crap covered in Monsanto agents, including their weed killer, which has been known to create tumors in animals, including humans. Yes, we are animals too. We are animals too. And so enter the vegans, right? Because they would have you believe that this is the vegan lobby. Obviously, I'm talking about not individual vegans out there walking around. The vegan lobby, this major push under the guise that it's all things wonderful with the world, when that's not at all true. I just listed a bunch of things that's wrong with the plants. You put plants like that, hybrids that Mother Nature didn't create, with full of inorganic chemicals as opposed to organic chemicals, which she did create, into the soil. You are changing the very makeup of the soil, and any beings that come into contact with it, rely on it, use it, source it, from there on. Continuing doing that, you've just changed somebody's complete DNA makeup, or the same thing for the animals. So into the vegans, because they want to tell you that the way to solve the problem and to stop the fires is not by throwing money and water at it like we did with Notre Dame, but by ceasing to eat beef. Because to them, or they say, they would have you believe, you and I, that it's cow farts that are our largest problem. As if cows haven't always farted, as if they only started farting in recent years to contaminate the air and cause these issues. Why would they have us try to believe that and try to spread veganism in Brazil, in the Amazon, to strip these people of their culture and to evict them from their land? I have asked this question recently on my social media, but I've asked it more than once. What do you call an indigenous person who's been stripped of their land, their leather, feathers, bone, shells? You call that an American, because that's what happened to natives in the Americas. They were stripped of all those things, and they lost their culture, many of them. Many of us, I should say, because I'm descendant of indigenous people myself, Africans and natives, which is why even as a plant-based person myself, when I was wholly plant and sometimes raw organic vegan to boot, I could never identify as a vegan because I saw it for what it is, a means to eradicate my people of their culture. And I won't contribute to that. I won't help with that. I won't identify as, I won't associate, I won't affiliate, I won't assimilate. Now, what's really ironic about this, speaking of billionaires that could save the situation, is that, well, there's a few things. One is that, speaking of Amazon the corporation, and Jeff Bezos, who runs it, will be paying $0 or has paid and is required to pay $0 in taxes for 2018 on $11,200,000,000. That's 1111, right? 13 of 4, 1111. $11,200,000,000, 0% tax rate. $0 in taxes he's paying. He could certainly help, stand to help the Amazon, but he's not going to, because he wants that deforestation. He wants that land cleared. I'm sure he's got all kinds of ideas. What else is ironic to me is that in the past, even what we would consider third world countries, like Brazil, Venezuela, Cuba, have attempted to send the United States supplies and help, assistance, when we've had disasters like this. 9/11, Katrina, even Sandy, and we've rejected it because we're above all that. You don't need no stinking water from Cuba. We don't need no stinking help from Venezuela. Their oil, their gas, we can make it by. And so our arrogance and ego as a country, again, not individual Americans, caused the gas and things to shoot up here to like $6 a gallon. You guys remember that? And for another group of people, speaking of Katrina, to be evicted from their homes. More indigenous people, so to speak. They got the black people out with those floods and moved white people in. Gentrification. That's just the long and short of it. That is the honest truth about it. Period. And it's ironic that this week is actually the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. I live in New York, but it's something I will never, ever forget the date on which it occurred, because it started the day after my son's birthday, August 23rd, and the levees broke on my sister's birthday, Michael Jackson's birthday as well, August 29th, or by August 29th. All hell had broken loose, not just the levees. I find it really ironic that this is the anniversary, and that many of the people that lived in Louisiana at the time, similar to this, did not get help. Those black people did not get help. Their homes, their land was stolen from them and never returned, and many of them had to relocate to other states. We have some in New York. Many went to Alabama, Texas, surrounding areas. So that is why the Amazon is on fire and it's being permitted to burn. That's my short version. Deforestation, industrialized farming, including a major push toward veganism, to an indigenous people who don't need veganism. Veganism would eradicate their culture. And basically, colonialism. That's what it is. They're trying to colonialize the Amazon. So on that note, I'll talk a little bit more about some things like Katrina, perhaps. I did want to mention just that it was the anniversary, so I guess I've done that this week, August 29th. Well, again, it started on the 23rd and went through the 31st, August 31st. That's when they considered, the crisis as far as the actual hurricane and floods to have been over. What else is going on this week? I mentioned 9/11 too, now that I think about it. 9/11 is right around the corner as well, and is the Ethiopian New Year. If you ever wondered why 9/11, would they choose 9/11? I also have other thoughts as to what 9/11 is about. But the year of the pig, those of you who follow Chinese astrology, you know that the year of the pig is associated with the numbers 9 and 11. Coincidentally, I myself am not only a pig on the Chinese zodiac, but a 9/11 survivor, living just blocks away from the Trade Center. I'll go into more of that at another time too, because it's actually a Stargate by me that's sort of associated, affiliated, connected to me. So that's why it's down there. But 9/11, I'll be back to talk about the Ethiopian New Year. It's actually being celebrated on the 12th this year, but still. All right, so this week, what is going on? This reading is going to go through today, the 25th, through Saturday to come, the 31st. And on the Christian calendar, also on August 29th, I have the feast day of the beheading of St. John the Baptist. So, what do I want to say as quickly as possible about that? The beheading of St. John the Baptist is also called the decollation of St. John the Baptist, or the beheading of the forerunner. And it's a holy day, a Christian day, that is observed around the world that basically recognizes and commemorates the martyrdom of St. John the Baptist by beheading. This is a beheading that was ordered by Herod Antipas at the request of his very arrogant, karmic female stepdaughter, Salome. Now, just like Jezebel and Lilith, you'll hear, some people, particularly women, some women praise people like Salome, Jezebel, Lilith. I'm not one of those people, that's not what I can consider feminine empowerment. That's what I consider a toxic psychopath, basically. Somebody that would order someone to have someone hated simply out of their own jealousy, which is what it was. And in Salome's case, actually, the karma was pretty exacting. A lot of times we experience karmic lessons and we have no idea why. We don't know to what they're connected. We may know that we haven't always done the exact right thing at different points in our lives, and maybe we've even very consciously done the wrong thing that hurt someone else or caused somebody else harm. And so we know that we deserve a certain type of karma, a certain amount of karma, but it often doesn't at all happen the same way. Salome is a little different. She too was beheaded, not by anybody, but in a freak accident in the ice, an ice-covered river. She fell through, and her head was chopped off. So she got what was coming to her. Again, this feast day of St. John the Baptist is recognized on August 29th. I did have a page here open from which to read, but I'm not going to, and I haven't. Everything that I just told you is from the top of my head. There are 3 different times in history recorded or told that St. John the Baptist's head was lost and then recovered. So that's also interesting. And some of you guys may want to read further on, this feast day and the story and like why Salome would do this, what led up to it, what that was about, why the king would succumb to her word, and all of that. Also, so that's the Catholic, or Christian rather, feast days for the week. On the Hebrew calendar, I don't think there's anything until the 1st. Let me check. Yes, technically we start the 31st at sundown. We have the Hebrew month of Elul beginning for the year 5779. But I think, wait a minute. So that would, yeah. Yeah, so I think I'll talk about that on the 1st. Since then I really will be home, and I'll be able to go into more detail as to what the month of Elul is about. But I can tell you briefly, it's about mostly reflection and looking back and preparing, like, what do we need to finish, get done, clear away, cut ourselves off from before the new year starts, when we want to start fresh, which is the following month. At the end of the month, so September 30th, actually, 29th, and at sundown into the 30th will be the feast day of Rosh Hashanah. And what's also interesting is the 29th of September will not only be Rosh Hashanah, but it's also what's called Michaelmas, which is a feast day where not only Saint or Archangel Michael is celebrated, but also Raphael and Gabriel. They used to have individual feast days, and then they put them together, and then they've since changed the name to Michaelmas, similar to like Christmas, right? This one is in recognition of Archangel Michael, but those other 2 who are considered among the major archangels also celebrated with him. Um, so that's the Hebrew or Jewish calendar. Now, on the Islamic calendar, on that same day, the 30th at sundown into the 31st, is the Islamic New Year. And for that, I will go quickly for a moment. I won't read the whole thing, but to wikipedia.org. The Islamic New Year, also known as the Arabic New Year or Hijri New Year, is the day that marks the beginning of the new Hijri year and is the day on which the year count, is incremented. The first day of the year is observed on the first day of Muharram, which is the first month of the Islamic calendar. The epoch or reference date of the Islamic era was set as the year 622. Now, I matched the number 22, of course, also equals 13 or 4 or 1111. So this is sort of like a 613 equals 19, which then 19, of course, breaks down to 10. So 622 would be like 610, or would be 10 altogether, actually, or 1 for like a new start, right? The new year. And it was the year of the immigration of Muhammad and his followers from Mecca to Medina, known as Hijra. All religious duties, such as prayer. I apologize for that. I should have sat somewhere else so you couldn't hear that. All religious duties, such as prayer, fasting in the month of Ramadan, and pilgrimage, and the dates of significant events such as the celebration of the holy nights and festivals, are calculated according to the Islamic calendar. So I've told a story before about how Muhammad left Mecca upon the murder of his grandson and went on a pilgrimage to Medina. So that's what Ramadan is all about. And now that last month, which was Ramadan, now that month is complete, this now is the first month of the year. And so similar to the Jewish tradition, we look back on those things and look forward to more positive and happier times on the Islamic calendar. On the celestial calendar, we have this week on the 29th at 3:48 a.m. Mercury enters Virgo. Now, we already had Venus into Virgo on the 21st, so last week's reading, and I told you a little bit from the top of my head how I felt about that. This week it's Mercury that enters Virgo. And on the 30th, the same day or around the same day, on or around the same day as the Islamic New Year and the Jewish new moon, we have the new moon in Virgo. Jewish new month. Jewish new month, Elul. We have the new moon also occurring on the same day at 6:37 a.m. in Virgo. So I'll do a separate moon reading, and for that I will also be home. So I'll do that from there. So just to talk a little bit for a second about Mercury in Virgo. Mercury in Virgo is actually said to be Mercury's best placement, as many of you, at least I'm sure, are probably aware. Mercury is the ruler of both Gemini and Virgo. It is the communication planet. And Virgo is this very feminine, grounded, practical sort of energy. So rather than, scattered, perhaps Gemini, this is said to be a perfect placement for Mercury. Although probably not the most fun, similar to what I said about Virgo last week. You know, it could be practical, can be considered boring by some. So it depends on one's perspective. But it will be a time when we may find ourselves being like super critical and or analytical, and that can be positive or negative, again depending upon one's perspective and their attitude, their energy. Is your energy positive or is your energy negative? You know, because there's definitely benefit to being analytical and even critical, and there's definitely ways to hurt people, yourself, also by being analytical or super critical. We should do better at discernment during this period, so that's positive. I don't know about the relationships, you know. I think we'll probably have to leave that part to the Venus in Virgo. This will be more about being productive and, you know, making progress toward real ideas and communications and things that were stuck in our lives, like finally getting those moving, because again the communication planet is at home in Virgo. And Mercurian people, you know, Geminis and Virgos alike, so are both very good at like taking in a ton of information and only pulling out what's important. It's like, okay, blah, 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 blah. You know, I don't care about that. Like, this is the meat of the story. We should be good at that during this period. And I guess as it relates to relationships, those things can help us, again, or hurt us, depending upon our perspective and our own energy. But I otherwise don't expect this transit to be very lovey-dovey, or again, not even necessarily very fun. All right, so on that note, let's get to the reading. I do not have my dice. Again, I didn't even notice that I didn't have them last week. I just got to the reading. So speaking of Mercury, I'm beginning with the Prince of Winter. I'll just shuffle a little bit and then like all the cards, and then just get to the, you know, use them after that. The Prince of Winter is a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Could be Mercury himself, could be Venus himself too, or someone likened, or you know, to the traits or attributes of an air sign. Get ready for progress to speed up. This situation requires you to choose logic and intellect over emotion and to make your decisions quickly. And opening 2 Major Arcana card 21, the World. Congratulations on successfully accomplishing what you set out to do. You've made it through the challenges and incorporated the lessons that life offered you with grace and courage. The World is a fire energy for me. I have not attributed to any one sign or another. It just feels very fiery. So Leo, Sagittarius, Aries could be directly involved, maybe as some sort of part of a party of 3, with 21 equaling 3. Possibly a love triangle, but not necessarily. And you're being taken out of a situation that's no longer serving you, that you should have left alone a long time ago, but you didn't. Could be a job, relationship, you know, some sort of circumstance. I should have been moved. You know, when I had the chance, I didn't, and I got stuck in this apartment for another 15 years. Well, now you're being given that chance again to move. Like that sort of thing. I should have left this fool years ago. Okay, I didn't. And then I stayed, and then I had 2 more kids. But now I'm getting ready. Now I'm able to get out. That type of thing is what the world means to me. You know, people will tell you it means the world is at your oyster. You know, the world is your oyster. The world is at your feet. It could. That's not what it means for me. Typically, it can be about things coming full circle. Like again, we've been through this. It's back around. So here's another opportunity for me to get out. Prince of Winter. And the Prince of Autumn. So this is very Mercury in Virgo, right? To have the Prince of Winter and Autumn together. The Prince of Autumn is a Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus, so someone likened to those traits or attributes. He is trustworthy, dedicated, protective, and funny. It's important to make a detailed plan before starting any new endeavor. Once you have that plan in place, then you can take immediate action and get as much accomplished as possible. Yes, because again, he is reliable, he is practical. Prince of Autumn. And one more. It's the Four of Autumn. Be cautious about living a life of extremes or seeing things in black and white terms. Consider, for example, whether you're spending too much versus hoarding your wealth, or giving too much emotionally versus building up walls that keep people out. The Four of Autumn can be a card, again, really it's about you wanting to leave a situation alone, leave a relationship alone. Now, I'd said that Virgo in Mercury and Virgo rather could be a good time to communicate like more effectively and clearly than you had before, with the communication planet home in Virgo. And so maybe you've had a relationship where you've been needing to talk to the person about, whether or not you can fix it. This is the time to do that, or to, again, get out if that's what you're wanting to do. It's the same thing with jobs. The Four of Pentacles for me is a card that says, like, I'm working this job because it pays. That's the only reason. I don't like the job. I don't like the people there. They don't like me. They're nasty to me. It's clear they want me out. They want to fire me. They want me to quit. Whatever. But I stay because it pays the bills. That's why I'm there. Well, so this is about an opportunity to get out and maybe to make a detailed plan as to how. All right, I'm going to start sending out resumes. I'm going to go start, knocking on doors, pounding the pavement, as they say, writing some really awesome cover letters. So I have the communication planet here to help me out. And, I'm going to get to mailing my resume, or, creating some videos about me to be used, to further myself. So it's that sort of thing. And the same thing can be done for a relationship. How do I get out? Especially if there's a marriage or some sort of contract. Could be a business relationship too. Remember, I'm doing general and love. If we have to get out of a situation that maybe is not so simple as just walking away, how do I go about doing it? That's where the planning and wherewithal of the Knight of Autumn or Pentacles comes in. I'll do one more. And it is the Five of Winter, so it could involve some sort of conflict, as I was just suggesting. Your current path isn't leading you toward the happiest possible outcome, so why not change it? Always maintain integrity and compassion, but be alert to the hidden agendas of others. Prince of Autumn. As I mentioned, there is a new moon this week, and I'm beginning with the goddess, and basically the goddess of the moon. And this is a card that's all about the feminine energy of surrender for me, not only because of this nude feminine body, which definitely says that to me. You can't be any more vulnerable than, down to your bare essence. But the moon is also a body that suggests surrender and sort of moves us to surrender. And opening to transience. So it could be surrendering to your need for healing, and to allow for it, to seek it. The goddess. Also, spiritual growth. That could be as a consequence of the healing, or as a benefit of the healing, right? It leads to some sort of ascension for you, spiritual growth, or as a benefit of your surrender. Like when you let go, then you are able to complete, a phase in your life, maybe a karmic lesson or something, which always leads to spiritual growth. The goddess and the gateway. So similarly, the gateway is about ascension for me and moving on to the next phase, the next chapter. The hashtag creepy deck, I'm beginning with control. Maybe this is the person you want to leave alone, right? somebody that's like, a narcissist who's been trying to be controlling of you. Or maybe this is you just wanting to regain control of yourself and not allow yourself to be puppeted. Maybe you want to cut cords to someone or something. You want to discipline yourself. You want to be, in control. And opening to new love, opposite that. Maybe you want to lose control and let go of your heart, like open your heart to somebody new. Boss up and, reach out to somebody or accept their contact. Phone call, text, letter. Again, the communication planet is at hand. Control and true love. So it could really benefit you and opening you up or freeing you up for your true love. I have been forgetting to cut the cards. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now with these. And that brings us to young female, which is a representation of Jupiter for me, in addition to potentially or possibly having something to do with an actual young female, a young person, or youthful person or energy. It's also about gifts and things from the universe, because it's very Jupiter, very Sagittarius, this young lady for me. Overall energy is young male. I'll cut this one. That brings us to the Two of Autumn. Somebody may have a decision to make. Somebody may be needing to restore balance to their lives. Again, maybe by cutting some cords to something that is holding them back, right? Strings, something that's, or the puppeteering. Also, this can be about making time for both work and play in your life. Balance in that sense. You may be under stress because of multiple jobs or too many responsibilities for one person to manage. It's important to balance your work and personal life, and to bring a spirit of fun to all that you do. Overall energy is the Six of Autumn, which is about the universe providing us with some sort of assistance, sending us some sort of help, assistance. Could be in the form of an actual person, could be a grant or scholarship, opportunity. Let's see. Your success and prosperity have allowed you to pay off debts, to acquire wise loans, and to receive a grant or scholarship. In return for heaven's blessings, be sure to share the wealth with others through donations of time or money to reputable charities. And by reputable charities, they don't have necessarily mean organizations. Can be someone or something that you, on a personal level, feel is worth your charity, is charitable. And extending your time, money, help to this cause. And this brings us to listening, which for me is very air, very communication. So this could also be connected to Mercury, but also very much to Uranus and the sign of Aquarius with this star showing up. And therefore, for what we could be listening is answers to our prayers, our wishes being granted, our dreams coming true. Sometimes we ask for things and then we don't even pay attention for the signs that we've been answered. So it's about listening, but also on a more 3D level, listening, in our communications. Speaking of Mercury and Gemini, manifestation power. The magician for me represents the sign of Gemini. Use your spiritual gifts and natural abilities to attract your desired outcome. Okay. Opening 2, you're a powerful light worker. It is safe for you to be powerful. Your spiritual power brings you blessings in loving service to the divine. Also, fairies. You have a strong bond with the fairies, and your life purpose involves helping Mother Nature. Manifestation power. Mediumship. You have the natural ability to connect with departed loved ones. Some of us who are doing this is connected to listening. Again, it's tuning in, surrendering, being open, making yourself vulnerable to receive the messages. And that can also be the spiritual gift, the spiritual growth that you'll experience this week. Some of us is maybe an increase in this gift, or you may discover this gift, somebody visiting you, and that will be because you're a powerful light worker. So the second time opening to this card on that note, I will cut. And Goddess. It's another very goddess of the moon kind of card. Express your divine feminine energy, embracing its magical intuition and nurturing qualities. And lastly, my fortune teller cards beginning with marriage. As soon as I opened the box, this card leapt out of the box and landed on the floor. You're attracting emotional fulfillment and unconditional love. It's a very 2 of Cups kind of energy. And opening to plane. Speaking of cups, it's very chariot-like. Chariot represents the sign of Cancer in the tarot. A journey is indicated, either physically or metaphorically. Your life will become more full. Marriage. Owl. There are spiritual messages and great wisdom to be found during this period of transition. Marriage. And wish. So dreams coming true, right? Things being manifested, wishes being granted. Your heart's desire is ready to come true. So listen for the messages. And for some, that is a deepening of a commitment, maybe specifically romantic commitment, perhaps even something like engagement or marriage, finally coming true for you. Wish. And speaking of wishes coming true, that brings us to the star. Hard times are over. Look forward to an abundance of happiness, enthusiasm, and positivity. So again, in the tarot, the star represents the sign of Aquarius and the planet Uranus, but more so is about communication for one thing, as an air sign, and our wishes being granted, our dreams coming true, our prayers being answered, so us being successful in our manifestation. And the overall energy is judgment. Soul searching will bring inner peace to many areas of your life. So this soul searching could be specifically attached to, again, this last month, or the beginning of the, this last month, the beginning of the month of Elul, which is the last month before the new year. And again, it is a period of reflection and soul searching, introspection, but also judgment in the tarot. Represents for me the planet Pluto in the sign of Scorpio, which it rules, but is about abundance coming in various forms. It's abundance that we deserve, that we've earned, either by our actual labors or through some promotion, uplifting from the universe directly. Right? We're our ascension, and it's very positive. I don't have nothing negative to say about judgment. So first, the spread from the perspective of the divine masculine, divine feminine, the masculine as it relates to the feminine, himself, and the union as a whole. Overall, I usually don't do that, put the outcome down first, but I just did. The outcome, what the masculine would have the feminine do, contribute, surrender toward the union, what he himself is willing to, what the universe would have each or both do and wants us all to do and even wants to help us with, is this one. And yes, again, this is the outcome. I'm going to do the same with these. Divine feminine. Ooh. Okay, we're feeling stuck, alone, possibly fearful of moving forward. Maybe, again, we're in some sort of relationship or job or something where we've just been there too long and we need the universe's help to move us out. Well, the universe is here with that help. Again, guardian, we are not alone. We can get through whatever this is and, cut the cords, break these chains, open up the cage, release ourselves, fly free like a bird. It's so easy to convince yourself that you're trapped when you really aren't. Trust that God will lift you to new heights and give you a greater sense of self-confidence if you first affirm your freedom. Yes, this can be with relation to, again, lacking self-confidence, esteem, maybe in wanting to reach out to somebody, maybe in connecting with spirits through mediumship, like we saw with the other cards, and just being afraid to take that step forward. We're not alone. We're supported in that, and are capable, very capable this week of doing it. The masculine is relates to the feminine, perhaps specifically this issue where she is stuck, and it is transmutation. Take all this negative energy and negative emotions and transmute them to love. And that promotes ascension and also positive energy that allows for this kind of getting together, union, feeling of security. Contentment comes from knowing that your family's finances are secure and your family's material needs are taken care of. It's important to honor traditions and to have pride in your heritage and the accomplishments of your ancestors. I also just got, maybe I'm doing some mediumship right now too. I also just got, it's a little odd and random here, that somebody did lose a loved one this week, possibly the feminine, and that person having been cremated. Possibly the parent or sibling or the parent of one's child or children. But also, where that happened, them wanting you to know that everything is still okay. You are still safe. You are still secure. You're not alone. Again, I'm doing general and love together. So we're going to get all kinds of messages. The masculine as it relates to himself this week, expectancy, and the king of summer. So this is expectations as it relates to possibly love, definitely emotions. And the expectancy card shows up when we're sort of trying to dictate to the universe the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why, like exactly how to do everything we want done in our lives. When we're not capable of doing that, we're not even, our minds just have no concept of the vastness of the universe and what it's capable of doing for us. So we shouldn't be trying to tell it what to do. But that's what somebody's doing, and again, it's probably in an area of love, like send me specifically this kind of person, in this kind of situation. And the universe is not going to do that. In fact, you're blocking your blessings in that area as long as you keep this up. So masculine, you're guided to also surrender this week. The king of summer is warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful. A trustworthy person or relationship enters your life. You may receive wise and compassionate advice from someone who speaks directly from the heart. The king of summer may be a direct water sign, although he does not have to be. He doesn't even have to be a he. He can be a she. They're not gender or sexuality specific. But the king of summer is a Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer, or someone likened to those traits or attributes where they are a water sign. Masculine, with regard to the union as a whole. So it's like despite everything else that's going on in your life and or his, still eternal flame remaining from his perspective and as far as he's concerned as it relates to the union. Union as a whole, eternal flame. That's going nowhere. And maybe even a fresh start in that area, despite the difficulties that we've had. And we may continue to have a few more bumps in the road, but we're going to have a fresh start nonetheless. The Ace of Winter, implementation of your brilliant new idea may get off to a rocky start, but keep going. The challenges will help you to refine your plan and to reshape your goals into something even better. As it relates to business situations, this is like something you've always wanted to do. So it's your eternal flame in that sense. It's been a burning passion. I've always wanted to be and you fill in the blank, and an opportunity coming to do that. Something that you really love, an opportunity, but you're going to have to loosen up on the restrictions that you're putting upon the universe while it's trying to send you this blessing. Overall, answered prayer. Boom. Isn't that what I just said here? Told you. I knew prayer wants to come in, blessings want to come in, but we're blocking them. Again, particularly the masculine, blocking them. Something that you, if it's not a relationship, a romantic relationship, it is something again involving love and emotion. So somebody or something to which you're emotionally tied, and maybe again really, really vested and extremely passionate about. That you've been asking for support from the universe, prayer. And here it is. Here's the dreams, the goals, represented by the Seven of Summer, which for me is a very Neptunian energy. Although it's not a court card, it tends to represent for me the planet Neptune and the sign of Pisces, which it rules. And it's all about our dreams, our aspirations, our goals, but also dreams in the sense of like our head being in the clouds. And so we need to take some sort of action, but we're not. We're just like, oh, imagine that, and just the idea of it all, but not actually doing anything. And so this card comes in and tells us what action we need to take, because our prayers are being answered, our dreams are coming true, our wishes are being granted, and it's connected to two signs that I've mentioned just a few moments ago too. This butterfly over the stomach for me is very Scorpio. It's about transition, transformation. Like Major Arcana card 13, Death, which represents the sign of Scorpio. And there's another star, very strategically placed over a communication center, the throat chakra on this angel. And so that is very air sign, and maybe more specifically Aquarian for me, which is about prayers being answered, wishes being granted, dreams coming true. And it's also about communication. So dreams coming true, maybe specifically in the area of communication. It's time to stop procrastinating and to make a decision so that you can move forward with a priority. If you need to do more research, then do so. But don't overthink the situation. Listen to your heart. So here we have the dreams coming true. Here we have the dreams. That's the overall energy. What the masculine would have the feminine do, contribute, surrender toward the union this week. And it is balance, which is a very temperance like card to me, despite it being looking very air and water, not unlike our overall energy, very air and water, very Aquarius and Scorpio. This could be also, again, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. Especially with this air and water too. We may have a lot of air and water couples that are making progress in one way or another this week, more specifically than any others. But then now again, enter the energy of temperance for me with this balance card, which is the universe sending healing and support, and is very Sagittarian, not unlike the young girl that popped up with the card that I said is very Jupiter for me, very Sagittarius. So we have that coupled with the 4 of spring. It's time to kick back, to relax, and to celebrate all that you have. Joy arises from success in your career, the completion of a project, or a very happy home life. So this is like you being made whole, restoration, recovery. That's what the masculine would have the feminine work on this weekend. This week rather. Her joy, her happiness, her recovery, her restoration. And again, maybe because she lost somebody, it's sitting here right underneath. Maybe she lost somebody, or she lost something that was dear to her. And so this is an opportunity this week to you just focus on getting that back. You just focus on getting your joy back, getting that smile back on your face. That's all the masculine wants of you. Although it may involve him and a fresh start for you guys. Although possibly a rocky start. It gets off to a rocky start with the Ace of Swords. What the masculine himself is willing to do, contribute, surrender toward the union this week. And it is perhaps traveling to see you. The Major Arcana card 7, the Chariot, represents the sign of Cancer. It is a card of travel. It is a card of celebration because it's a card of victory. It's a card of movement, moving. But also balancing, which temperance is also like too. Temperance can be about balancing various differences or a difference. You're blue and I'm white. You're female and I'm male. How can we still come together despite those differences and be happy together? So that can be another thing that the masculine is asking the feminine this week, to let go of any hang-ups about the differences and find a way to be happy anyway, like to work through those. Because that's what the Chariot also suggests. You can successfully balance various or opposing energies at once. Through determination and focus, you've earned the rewards and recognition that you're receiving. Just like I said about judgment, that it's about earning this abundance that's coming your way. And so we have the Chariot coupled with celebration. So again, the Chariot is a card of victory. It is a card of celebration. And so we have movement in some sort of area. And it's making us very, very happy, emotionally fulfilled. Masculine, willing to move, maybe literally, because we also had that card plane show up that said basically like a trip is inevitable this week. It may be an actual trip or some other just metaphorical movement forward. So that's the same thing the Chariot is saying. Also, the Chariot is about that control that we're talking about, being in control of our own lives. You're in the driver's seat. You're in control of your own destiny. You are the master of your own destiny. What the universe would have each or both of us to do, surrender, contribute to the union this week, and even wants to help us with, but we have to first affirm, is boom. More of this air and water, and again, more very specifically Aquarius as it relates to the air and water, or the air rather. But, again, air, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, coupled with the Prince of Summer, crossing the King of Summer. So more water, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, romantic flirtatious, introspective, and enchanting. A deeply emotional and probably romantic experience will sweep you off your feet. Things can move very quickly during such whirlwind encounters. So stay balanced and make decisions with both your heart and your intellect. The Prince of Summer or Knight of Cups for me is also possibly somebody that is returning, and you know them already, right? You know who this person is. You may have dated them before. You may have dealt with them somehow before. Again, this is also a general reading, so have some sort of business with them. Again, something to which you're emotionally tied, and they could be coming back. Maybe wanting to step things up a notch in your relationship. And the Mystic is very star/high priestess for me. So you're going to want to pay attention to your intuition. You're going to want to listen. Let those who have ears hear, and let those who have eyes see, and maybe between the lines, reading and things, seeing between the lines and getting extra messages, and also manifesting. Again, prayers, wishes, dreams coming true, being granted through this coupling here. Maybe specifically as relates to relationships. And the outcome. Oh, wow. Soulmate card coupled with the Three of Summer sitting next to the Chariot and a card called Celebration. Well, guess what? The Three of Summer is not only about reunions and people coming back for me, like I just said about the Knight of Cups or Summer, but the Three of Summer is also a card of celebration. You have an exciting reason to celebrate, such as an engagement, wedding, graduation, or a birth announcement, or the fact that your soulmate has returned or you have met them for the first time. And a wonderful experience is about to start for you. Remember to cherish those you love. So then, again, if you have this kind of opportunity to meet with somebody, to get out, to be social, if you're single, you could very well be meeting your soulmate this week. For those who are not single, or again, who have somebody, with whom they're in separation and they're awaiting their return, that could definitely be happening for you this week. And maybe specifically, again, air and water couplings. I want to do another sort of more general spread with the what I call the hashtag creepy deck. Again, begin with an overall energy of young male. So divine being or couple. Recent past. Masculine higher self. Let me move this up a bit. Near future. Blocks to individual or shared progress, including union. What the feminine can do to help herself, however. What the masculine can do to help himself, and what the universe would have each of the two do to help themselves, and even wants to help us with, but we have to first affirm, and the outcome. Divine being or couple. Ice King. So it's another one of these very Mercurian or perhaps Emperor-like, thinking of the sign of Scorpio again, cards. So in terms of Mercury and ice or air signs, again, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius coming into play here. But also the sign of Leo and fire being particularly important. And then speaking of fire, this guy not only is Mercurian to me, but he's also very Martian-like, right? So he can be Mercury or he can be Mars. And if he's Mars, then I get definitely more Emperor feels. So father, boss, authority, married man, divorcee, widower, person with man with children, someone maybe older, well-to-do, very mature, got himself together for the most part. But if he's Mars, that also brings in the energy of Scorpio and fellow fire sign Aries as well. This is also a card of, again, being in control of ourselves, in control of our own lives, the master of our own destinies. Recent past, family, and another three, like party of three, possibly kind of card. Something having gone on with family. It looks like something positive. Near future. New love. So I said it looks like something positive, but that doesn't mean it can't be divorce. Which can also be something positive if we don't belong together and we're not working. And that'll free us up for our true soulmate, right? For our new love or for a new love. So for some, I definitely feel that. Even though I said something positive, it's a breakup, it's a divorce, it's a cutting off from this family. But that is positive because like that season is over and it's time for a new chapter. It brings up back again the energy of the Four of Pentacles that I said you're just in this relationship, like going through the motions, but it's over really. Or Major Arcana card, the World, like we should have left a long time ago, we didn't, and now here we are. Masculine's higher self, yep, it's another party of three, and it's dating queen. So again, it's him wanting to get out of this family, and he's got his confidence up. He's feeling good. He's feeling good about the way he looks, and just like an opportunity to be free. Also, this can be about just having your confidence up in the sense that you're like really, really believing